All right, this is our latest episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussions, retro pay-per-view series going over King of the Ring in 1996. I'm your host, Mike.
And I'm Frank. Let's get into it, man.
All right, so this King of the Ring, 96 is very interesting because the business was really, really, really bad at this point. You had lost Scott Hall, you had lost Kevin Nash. Bret Hart was on his hiatus. He wasn't technically he was a free agent at this point,
Yeah.
so it was kind of like a rebuild. It was so bad that you have less than 9,000 people at this King of the Ring. They went to a smaller venue where I think the year before they had like double that, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, like,
16,000, almost 17,000,
yeah,
1995,
yeah.
where, it was only eight here.
So that goes to show you how bad business was. But despite that, this is one of the best King of the Rings ever, maybe the best. I go back and forth between 96 and 93. And 93, because I'm a Bret Hart fan, I'm always going to lean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus, 93 had the first tournament and had the tournament in its entirety, where this one
Yeah. They chopped it in half.
because
By
they
the time you got to the pay-per-view, you got
right. I guess because they wanted to have other matches too, which it was still a great pay-per-view. Maybe the best pay-per-view, maybe the best pay-per-view of that year. Maybe you could argue.
this to me, I think started. It paved the way for somebody, the winner.
Mhm.
So this is where it launched his career, and it took any attitude era. You could say maybe even started at this point.
Right. Even though it was business was in the toilet,
Yeah.
you kind of saw the direction that they were trying to go in and the new blood, the infusion that they were going. And we would have seen Triple H win this had he not gotten punished too. So they were already building. They were already building their guys, for the next.
And in all honesty, I think going in this direction rather than Triple H at this point was better because I think Helmsley was a year off from it.
Dude, you know when they say everything happens for a reason, and
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah.
I truly believe that this happened for a reason, and if this didn't, I don't think this particular person's career would have escalated as much as it did.
Right.
So,
all right, let's get into the what are they had the King of the Ring qualifying matches.
mostly on Monday Night Raw. Again, a couple on Superstars.
Damn,
One on a house show. Don't ask me why. But and these are in no particular order. These are just the way the matches had come out. The first one was the Ultimate Warrior and Goldust. Now, at this point, we've covered on the Warriors episode that this was really the fallout of his return, feuding with guys like Lawler and Goldust, and just it was just ultimate crap. We've said this, and these two it ended in a double count out, so they're both out of the King of the Ring tournament. Now, we discussed the year before when Owen Hart and the British Bulldog were hit their time limit draw. They just replaced them in the tournament. In this case, they didn't replace them. This you actually can say that these weren't even qualifying matches. You can actually say maybe this was even the first round, because now the person that they had to face next got a bye into the pay-per-view, and
I didn't like this new format at all.
I didn't either. I don't understand why they had to change it. Why the whole tournament couldn't be on the pay-per-view with the matches that they already had.
I think I know what it is because 95 was such a debacle.
Even though we've said it had one of the best rosters in that tournament, it's just the way they handled it.
Right. On paper, going into it.
Yeah.
But the way it was mismanaged and,
And not to mention, the winner of this now is being punished for the curtain call. And so now they have to go in a new direction, and they're hoping to God that it works. Luckily, it did. So now Warrior and Goldust is out. So the winner of the next, I don't even say it was a qualifying match. We just honestly say it was a round one match, and that was Vader defeating Ahmed Johnson. So now Vader he's in the pay-per-view. He's in the semifinals. The next match on the card for the qualifier or the first round was Justin Hawk Bradshaw defeating Henry Godwin. From there, when they faced the winner, it was Jake the Snake Roberts defeating Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So
that was just punishment.
It was.
I kind of felt to get back to Ahmed and Vader. That's a pay-per-view match.
It is.
You don't
especially at the height that Ahmed was at.
Vader's getting a major push. Ahmed is starting to get his push, his IC push. and you throw that away. That was a match I would have saved that one. If I was WWE, I would have saved that one.
And if anything, maybe the month after at In Your House. But
I mean, that to me that's like a Royal Rumble match or SummerSlam. Maybe, well, it was probably too early for SummerSlam, but I feel like wow,
well, but shortly after this, Ahmed unfortunately had suffered his injury,
right. But I mean, I'm
and
just
so
saying,
he was out.
yeah. So
And then I think Vader was involved in the what was it? The whole was it Shawn Michaels,
Shawn
Sid,
Michaels, yeah,
and Ahmed actually was in that match. So never mind.
right.
He was still around.
Mm-hmm.
So now from there we go to Steve Austin. I'm not gonna say anything else yet. Well, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was going by that moniker at the time. He defeats Bob Holly. No real challenge there.
That's when he first. I don't know if he did he beat Holly with the stunner because I can't remember, but I know he debuts the stunner right around King of the Ring.
Yeah, he does it in the pay per view against Mark
He
Merrow.
does, but I don't know if he did it a week before or 2 weeks before.
This was also
Somewhere.
right around the time he dumped DiBiase,
DiBiase, yeah.
which once we get into Austin's episode later on, not in the too near future, um, we'll discuss all that because DiBiase's contract was up and he was heading to WCW. But this is where Austin got away from the whole ringmaster $1 million belt thing and he started his own persona. So now from there, we go to Savio Vega defeating Marty Jannetty. And I think at this point, Jannetty was the heel, but it doesn't really matter at this point with the new rockers and all
Yeah,
that.
because they were bad, right? The New Rockers. I know was it Leaf Erickson?
Leaf
AKA
Cassidy,
Leaf Cassidy.
Al Snow, yeah.
Al Snow.
Bad or good, they weren't booed or cheered anyway. So you honestly couldn't tell.
Yeah.
People came out and said, "Oh, they're fighting. It's time to go to the concession stand."
Yeah, we've talked about this before. Anybody with the new moniker in front of a classic or 2000,
yes, that's the other one.
That's like it's the kiss of death.
It's over, yeah.
That's over.
The finger poke of doom. So now the last two we've got is Mark Merrow defeating Skip and Owen Hart defeating a very declining Yokozuna, which I didn't like the fact that once they turned him fan favorite, that they're just treating him like complete garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a lot to do with the fact that his work ethic was declining and
his health,
the weight was gaining, and it was just a whole lot there. I didn't like how the guy's a 2-time champion for you a couple of years ago, and now you got Owen Hart beating him. I mean, really, you look at the two in the ring, and it's no contest, but it is what it is. So now from there we go to the qualifying quarterfinal matches. Jake the Snake Roberts, Bradshaw. And Vader's got a bye, so that match is set up for the pay-per-view. You got Steve Austin defeats his old nemesis, Savio Vega, once again. Now, by this point, I was really getting tired of seeing these two fight. I mean, it was just pay-per-view after pay-per-view, strap match, through hurricanes. It was just a whole lot, man. And then it's really sad, but considering Savio Vega was one win away from the King of the Ring a year ago, and now this happens.
Yeah.
And then Mark Merrow defeats Owen Hart, which that really shocked me. That I knew the wild man Mark Merrow was getting his push when he came into WWE. I didn't expect it to be that fast, especially getting a win over Owen Hart.
But Owen was hurt, right? Wasn't Owen injured? Maybe that's why.
He was. I know he was dealing with a lot of minor injuries in 1996, which is why his push wasn't so much, and that's why they really stuck him back into the tag team division. But I mean, considering the success that he had in King of the Ring 2 years prior,
that's not when he had the cast. Was that later on or before?
The alleged Bob Orton cast is right around the time.
Yeah, I think he was. It was legit at first, the injury.
Yeah, and then it was just like D'Lo Brown and
it became a gimmick.
And the pectoral shit. Yeah, it's always. So now you got Mark Merrow getting ready to face Steve Austin. So now we're off to the pay-per-view.
Finally, yeah.
King of the Ring semifinals to kick off the pay-per-view night.
See, just really briefly, like I didn't like that it was only how many matches were there? It was just three
on the whole. On what, the whole card?
The whole King of the Ring tournament was only 3 matches, right? The semifinals and finals. Mm-hmm. I don't like that, man. I'm a big tournament guy. I know you are.
Oh yeah.
I want a whole tournament because this is the idea of the King of the Ring is showing how much a wrestler how much stamina he has and the gauntlet that he could run through to beat everybody in one night. That's the king
Exactly.
of the ring, not like you get 2 weeks in between matches. And I didn't.
I know they're discussing it now for 2021 to bring it back. A couple of wrestlers, like Xavier Woods, has mentioned that they want the tournament to commence again, not just have a periodic tournament and then the person runs as king of the ring for as long as they decide to do it again.
Right.
And the idea is to actually have a one night 16-man tournament
That's
for
the way
both
it
Raw and
should be, man.
SmackDown to do it.
Maybe it's just the old school in me, but I
I
told you my
love it.
favorite pay-per-views are WrestleMania 4,
Yes.
Survivor Series 98,
Yes.
and the original King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the
Yes.
tournament.
I love the whole tournament now, not WCW's tournament, the version, but WWE's is.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the
especially if you
whole
got the right
process.
guy. If you have the right guy in the position to at least get to the finals.
And in the first two you mentioned, they absolutely did. Randy Savage and DiBiase, and then
Yeah.
you had Rock and Mankind.
Yeah.
I mean, they had it set up perfectly in those two.
Yeah.
And then even in the King of the Ring original, Bret Hart, Bam Bam
Bret Hart,
Bigelow.
yeah.
So, in any event, off to this mess. 16 minutes, 49 seconds. Steve Austin defeats Mark Merrow. And this was where the stunner was, I believe, introduced.
Yeah, and this is where Mark Merrow almost like permanently messed up Austin's lip.
Yeah, he busted him open. He needed stitches.
It was bad. I think Austin goes to the hospital during the pay-per-view.
Yes, he did.
To get stitched up, and then he comes back.
Yeah, he came back to fight a battered, bruised mess. Because the next match, Jake the Snake Roberts and Vader, 3 minutes, 34 seconds. Vader loses by disqualification.
What did he do? He pulled the ref down? He does something like that, right?
He did everything.
He pushes the ref or he does something?
Yeah.
He does something to the ref.
This is also, wasn't this right around the time? No, this was after the whole Gorilla Monsoon thing.
Yeah.
That Vader was
goes crazy and
exactly. And he did the Vader bomb on Jake Roberts more than once on this because they had the whole storyline where Jake's coming out and he's holding his ribs and stuff. And it's kind of hard when his belly is protruding, over his thing because he's so fat.
No, but here's the thing. Number one, okay, they weren't gonna have a heel versus a heel because Austin was a heel, so you weren't gonna have Vader versus Stone Cold, and Vader was about to get a major push and go into a program with Shawn Michaels. So you make him lose, but it was a DQ, so he doesn't really lose any face. But here's my problem: is that he beats up Jake Roberts, and then Jake Roberts is compromised going into the Stone Cold Steve Austin match in the final. Why would you take away from Austin's win? You cheap Austin's win. You cheapen it because Jake is all beat up. Austin should just beat him. If Jake should have been healthy, went in there, and Austin just beats him. There's no reason.
That match was less than 5 minutes.
But there's no reason for him to come in already compromised because I feel like it cheapens. At least at the time.
It did, but I think what happened during the coronation kind of made up for it.
No, yeah, everyone forgets that. I'm just saying, from a storytelling perspective, I didn't understand the logic behind Jake going into that match all beat up. So whatever.
And not even going in there and almost pulling it out.
No.
Saying he DDT'd him. He has a shot.
He had him. Nope.
He didn't have him from the belt.
Yeah.
So, all he had was a couple of tacos and probably a bottle of Jack in the back.
No, Jesus.
Because that I'm telling you, man, Jake Roberts was a wrestler that never wore a shirt. I mean, what was that whole outfit thing? I mean, come on. I mean, I know his gut was protruding and stuff, but he looked a mess. So now we're off the King of the Ring tournament for a minute. We've got some regular matches, not good ones, but regular matches. The WWE Tag Team titles on the line. The Smoking Guns versus the Godwins. It was a 10-minute, 10-second affair. The Smoking Guns kept the belts, and this was right around this was the time that Sunny was starting to play. Oh, I'm the manager of this team. I'm the manager of that team. And I think she was in the corner of the Smoking Guns at this point.
Yeah, she was. She was just jumping all over the place, like she was doing backstage. But anyway,
those sunny days for a lot of guys.
Yeah. Let me tell you, this is the best that Sunny looked to me with that cowboy outfit that she had on.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
she
agree.
was looking pretty good, but
Well, I didn't ever expected her to wear overalls when she was with the
yeah,
Godwins there,
uh, but yeah,
but she did look good with the gun with smoking
yeah,
guns.
she was just following the belts. That's what she was
Hmm.
doing. Yeah,
Imagine if the Headbangers would have won them, or if they were there, what she would have looked like in
yeah.
that. Oh Jesus! So now from there we go to an awful match that was only 3 minutes and 50 seconds. The Ultimate Warrior and Jerry the King Lawler. And this is what? This is the second year. Is it the second or third year that he's participated at the King of the Ring?
Yeah, 95
Uh,
he fought Brett the year before, and 94 he didn't.
94 he fought Piper.
He fought Piper, and then 93 he interrupted Brett's coronation. So somehow he has to be involved in the King of the Ring.
Unfortunately, it's this match just did not need to be taken care of. It did not need to happen.
Yeah.
It was awful for the Ultimate Warrior. The Warrior gets the win, obviously, but it's like you brought this guy back and you're literally doing nothing with him. And this is actually his final pay per view in WWE because then he was scheduled to be in the In Your House in July, and we've covered that already. What all the stuff that happened. So literally, this was his last match in WWE, and it was awful. So, I mean, kudos to getting the win, but I mean, you honestly think that a guy like the Ultimate Warrior is not going to beat Jerry the King Lawler?
Yeah, I didn't see the point of
I didn't understand what putting him in a feud with the man to begin
it.
with. There's so many other talented guys on the roster that you could easily have put him in there with
I
to
have
get him
no
on the
idea.
pay per view. So, and in any event, following that match was an 18-minute, 21-second match, the famous feud between the Undertaker and Mankind. And I love these feuds. We say a lot of things with the start of the Attitude Era. There are certain things that people missed in 1996 that kind of kicked it off. Austin, for example, the Boiler Room match was another.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's certain things that actually we say that WrestleMania 13 could have started it. Well, I think it goes back even further.
And this was the match, if you remember, that Paul Bearer came out and Undertaker was nowhere to be found, and then you see Undertaker, he jumps off the top rope,
Mm-hmm.
and then he starts for the first time you see Undertaker is throwing punches, like
Yeah.
rapid fire punches. I remember seeing this and going crazy, like because you never saw Undertaker do that.
And I actually just found this out recently. This is actually around the time also they were, he was still wearing the purple and black.
Mm-hmm.
They were contemplating, I don't know if you knew this, the red and black. They had done the design where they changed all the stuff that was purple to red. It looked good, but Bruce Pritchard for a split second was like, "Nah, we're not going to run with this." But I had recently seen the photo of it, and I'll tell you what, it looked pretty good. It was like a
Sounds
dark,
interesting.
dark red.
It's like Wolfpack,
Yeah,
Wolfpack Undertaker.
exactly.
But then it's good. It's good they didn't because then they gave Kane the red and the black. So
Yeah. So I mean, this feud for Mankind coming in right after WrestleMania
Mhm.
12, signing with WWE, just kicked off his career there, and Mankind got the victory against the Undertaker.
Yeah, was it Mandible Claw?
Yes.
Was it Mandible Claw? The thing about Mankind, when Mankind first came in, I don't know how you felt, but I thought he was gonna be a throwaway. Like, oh, they
At
brought him
first,
in.
I did because of the gimmick.
Yeah, I thought they brought him in just to feud with the Undertaker, and then they were just gonna discard him. But credit to Mick Foley.
Because
Yeah,
I knew who it was from watching WCW. I knew it was Cactus
yeah,
Jack.
I knew it was him.
And when they said that Mankind was coming in, and you see the vignettes, "Have a nice day," and you know
Yeah,
that's him, you're like,
he's
why isn't he coming in as himself?
pulling his hair out.
But luckily, this is one of the times that Vince puts his finger on you, changing your gimmick, and it worked.
And it actually worked, yeah.
It really worked.
But I think that's more
especially
about
later
Mick
on.
Foley. I think that's more about Mick Foley making it work than anybody else.
Oh, I'm not giving all the credit to Vince.
Yeah.
No way. It goes to Foley by far. So, and now from there, we go to the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Goldust defending the title against Ahmed Johnson.
Yeah.
And a 15-minute, 34-second match, which I thought was probably 10 minutes longer than Ahmed needed to beat this fruitcake. But Ahmed wins the Intercontinental title. Unfortunately, I don't think he didn't hold it for long. I think it was literally just over a month before injury plagued him.
Yeah, because
it was right after the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, he gets hurt after the In Your House.
The liver laceration.
Yeah, but
with Farouk.
But the thing was, if you remember this feud, Remember Ahmed Johnson got hurt, and then this was, I think it was on Raw, and Goldust said that he needed to give him mouth to mouth,
Yes.
and then Ahmed Johnson flipped the hell out. That's why when the match starts, remember Ahmed charges through the doors.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the Hardys, my bad. That was 2 years.
That wasn't hard.
No, the Hardys were 2 years ago when they
Yeah.
held the doors open. These were two other guys.
He just
I remember
comes,
he just blew right through it.
it's a great entrance, man. He just comes running out. And in that match, Ahmed, he almost kills himself. I don't remember that. If you remember that spot he did, he launched himself over the top rope onto the. He almost killed himself. He almost.
It's not something he normally does.
No,
but
no.
He was using
He tried,
that
man.
energy, man.
Ahmed had a good look, man. He was a terrible
did.
promo, but he looked like a legitimate badass. He was believable.
The biggest thing that killed his career, besides the injury when he lost the belt, and then they couldn't put him back in the title picture just yet, was the fact that you had a 2-year feud with the Nation of Domination that went nowhere, and then you put him in there, and then realize that was a mistake. And 2 weeks later, you take him back out, so you have him feuding with them again. And by this point, people are like, "We're done. Go away."
They said he had a bad attitude backstage,
and his work ethic wasn't all there. He wouldn't do the training. And WCW found that out when they hired him. When they put him in the New Harlem Heat, he didn't want to do the work, and he was like 300 pounds, but it wasn't muscle at that point.
Yeah, no.
So, but I mean, when he first came in, he had the look. He could have been WWE champion.
Yeah.
Think about it. If he would have stayed on track,
they were pushing him. They were pushing him hard.
Exactly. He was already in the main event. Hell, he was Shawn Michaels' buddy at the Wild Card Survivor Series match the year before. And now they got him in the main event with the WWE champion.
Yeah, he's the IC champion. He's with the WWF champion. Yeah.
Imagine if Ultimate Warrior was in that match too. How great that match would have been. But we get Psycho Sid. We're done. Anyway, moving on, we've got the King of the Ring finals now. We've got Jake Roberts versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And a 4-minute, 28-second match. I mean, all because Jake is injured and whatever. Austin beats him after coming back from the hospital and looking just completely beat up with the stitches, the fat lip. You could just see it.
Yeah, it was bad.
But he muddled through it, and Steve Austin is now your 1996 King of the Ring. But we're not stopping there, because when he goes up to the coronation stand, the legend was born. With Doc Hendricks was interviewing him, and I swear, man, I remember this speech word for word. And when he introduced Austin 316, I mean, I immediately went out. I think 2 weeks later they were on sale, and everybody had it. He tells Jake Roberts, "You sit there and you thump through your Bible and you talk about your John 316. Yeah. Austin 316 says, 'I just whooped your ass.'" And it was that right there made him, hands down.
I liked when he said, "Get that piece of trash out of here," or something like that. And then he told him to go drink. What did he say? Go get a bottle or something.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was.
And then he says, "I'm putting everybody in the WWE on notice, the World Wrestling Federation on notice, and I'm fixing to start running through all of them."
It's crazy how some of the spontaneous like that, Austin said. And then they said that, I think on Raw, people started showing up with the signs, the Austin 316 sign.
Yep.
And they were like, "Oh,
it was literally the next night."
Yeah, they were like, we got something here." So.
But trying to keep him heel was the problem, because they wanted to cheer for him.
Yeah.
And even when he came out and fought Brett later that year, they were still cheering him. And he's doing everything possible to be the heel, and it just couldn't happen.
Nope.
The two guys come to mind, one other besides him, when you try to keep them a heel and it just doesn't work. Rock was the other.
Yep.
No matter how much you do, the fans were still going to cheer him.
Yep.
So, I mean, those two guys, they were the ultimate bad guy, but they couldn't be.
Yep.
So, this day on the calendar, June 23rd, 1996, marked the day of Austin 316. The Austin era had begun. So, he was now your King of the Ring. Unfortunately, you don't go to SummerSlam and get your title shot, because they ended that the year before. Thank you, Mabel. And that's a shame, because I really think him and Shawn in 1996 would have been a lot better than Vader, maybe. So that's just my opinion. And our main event for the WWE Championship, with the special enforcer, Mr. Perfect, at there. Shawn Michaels defending the title against the British Bulldog. Now, this whole storyline to me had me laughing, especially when Bulldog's wife was, "Oh, he's
Oh yeah,
eyeballing me, he wants
it's
me,"
like
and
sexual harassment or something, right?
I'm like,
Yeah.
"Lady, he don't want you."
Remember what did he said? Don't flatter yourself. I love that line.
Yes, yeah, on Monday Night Raw, I think
Yeah,
a week or
yeah.
two before, he goes, "With all due respect, do
Respect.
not flatter yourself."
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
she took offense to that, and I'm over there laughing.
I've actually used that line because of HBK because it was so good.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah. Um.
It just took her off her pedestal, as because at this point she's wearing the Miss Calgary crown, and she's got the sash on, and
Yeah,
she
I
thinks
remember
she's
that. I remember. But they
God's
kind
gift
of.
and all that.
But they remember they pivot away from that. By the time you get to King of the Ring, they pivoted away from that whole angle. Like it was just about Bulldog and what happened at Beware of Dog and the whole
Yeah,
fiasco with the shoulders. Both their shoulders were down. But
yeah,
initially, it did start out that way initially, and then they
yeah.
kind of like.
This was the culmination of the feud right
Hmm.
here at King of the Ring. 26-minute match. Shawn Michaels gets the victory. Obviously, Shawn is going to get the victory. He's going to be running with this title in a year that they desperately need him.
It's a good match too.
And it was
Hmm.
Bulldog and Shawn always had great matches from the
Hmm.
time from 1992, even dating as far as I remember their last match was in 1997 for the European title. I mean, over that 5 year span, they've always had good matches.
I don't understand what they were doing with Perfect though, because they first initially they angled it that Perfect was because Perfect's kind of like a heel. He would always go
Yeah,
back and forth. So then they kind of angled it that Shawn and Perfect still had heat from years ago, and he was going to be the referee. But then I think it's Monsoon that comes out and says that he'll be the outside
mm,
referee or something. I don't know where they were going with all of that. Like, remember Perfect was backstage
yeah,
with Cam Cornette. He was there with them, and they were
yeah. Even okay, even if he interfered in the match and tried to cost Shawn the match, and Shawn somehow still keeps the title. You know they're not going Perfect and Shawn at SummerSlam.
no, not
And
at that point. Perfect hadn't wrestled in a while anyway.
yeah, and at this point, Perfect was pretty much on his way out because I think
Hmm.
he did one more gimmick when Mark Merrow became IC champion, and that was it. He
Right,
was
right,
gone.
because he was just commentating.
He was supposed to get back in the ring and
Yeah,
feud
no.
with Mark Merrow, but he
Mm.
never did. Doing this, kind of like what they tried to do with Luger, and it failed. I think at the last minute they probably pulled the plug on it and said, "All right, now just be out there
Yeah,
as
because
this is the final part of the feud. Get somebody out there that's not that no shenanigans, no nonsense is going to happen. We're going to have a clear cut winner
yeah, but
because it wouldn't have worked."
then after the match, they jump Sean, Owen.
Yeah,
Owen comes out and everything, and oh, we didn't even get into this. Owen Hart on commentary was tremendous this night.
he was.
Owen was hilarious on commentary.
How many times? I love you, Diana. I love
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love you,
That's my
Davey.
brother.
That's my brother
Yeah,
right
you're
here.
the best. Yeah,
Woo!
whoa, yeah, 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 yeah,
He's
yeah.
in the tuxedo
That
with
was
the cast.
that's a forgotten part of this pay per view is Owen Hart on commentary.
It was because he did a good job on
Yeah,
it.
he was. Yeah, he was awesome. And then they all jump him. I think I guess Vader's there. It's a whole big
Yeah,
schmoz, and then
this
Ahmed.
started the whole next pay per view
Yeah,
thing.
and then Warrior came out.
Yeah, which was a surprise to me because I wasn't
Yeah, I
expecting
wasn't
that.
expecting Warrior to come out.
I knew Ahmed would because he
Mhm.
had Sean's back against Camp
Right,
Cornette.
right, right, right.
I thought maybe it was going to be. Honestly, at the beginning, I thought if they were doing the 6-man tag, they were going to throw Yoko into it. Thank God they
No,
didn't.
no.
But by this point, Yoko was so far down. I mean, I'll even take a side note here and tell you that most people don't know this. The free for all match at SummerSlam '96 was Austin beating Yokozuna in a matter of minutes.
Hmm.
So that's just where his career was going.
It was also cool to see Sean and Warrior in the same ring, but now Sean is the man.
On that same
They're on
level.
the same level, yeah.
Not like
Not
Survivor
like
Series '89 where it's like this,
right.
where Warrior's up here and Sean's just a
Right.
tag team
Or
wrestler.
Even the Royal Rumble 1990
Yeah,
for that matter, when Sean was in there for like 2 seconds.
these guys,
Yeah.
your popularity. I'm the champion.
Yeah, it was
And
cool.
imagine those two in the ring.
Hmm. We could have
If
gotten it if things had gone differently.
you know what? Forget Austin and Sean possibly is at SummerSlam. Give me Sean and give me Warrior,
Yeah.
and you're going to bring the house down at SummerSlam 1996
Yeah.
by far. I
But
mean, just amazing that how that
it
would
would
have
have
gone
been
down.
great. But you got to see this pay-per-view how they would, it was the shift with Austin, major push with even Ahmed until he got hurt, unfortunately. He was getting a major push. So they were already building their new stars to replace
Yeah,
the Macho
even
Mans,
Mero.
the Hogans, even Mark Mero. Um so solid pay-per-view, even though 96 the business, I mean it wasn't as bad as 95, and nothing will be as bad as 95 probably, except the current product.
96, I think they actually put more of an attempt
Hmm.
to push their stars because now they knew reality just set in when
Even
Hall and
though
Nash left.
even though they were losing the ratings every single week in 96, you could see that they had the talent. They were there. Well, we didn't even get into Pillman. This is the night that Pillman shows up and he cuts that great promo. Remember with Owen, I think Owen does the interview and he walks right by
Austin.
he walks right by Austin,
Yeah, and he's
which
laughing
was
at
cool.
him.
The Hollywood blondes, like,
And he kind of and when Austin turned around, Pillman did the whole thing.
yeah, that was so cool to see, man. Them like kind of acknowledge each other, but not really say anything.
Yeah,
That was cool, and that was a crazy promo. Do you remember what he said? He says, "I'm here to rape, pillage, and plunder." Like that would never
that's
happen.
not gonna. I'm thinking, how did you get in here?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
seriously, but we covered that in Pillman's Dark Side, how
yeah,
he manipulated and got his contract with Vince.
yeah.
So I
So,
mean, kudos to him.
yeah. Overall, man, great pay-per-view, man. Great
It was
moments.
better than the year before.
I mean, well, that's not saying much, dude.
I know, but
I mean, you don't do much.
it's number 3 on the list of the 4 first King of the Rings. Put it like that, because number 93 and 94 are going to be 1 and 2 at this point,
Yeah.
and then I mean 95 is just going to be down there somewhere. I'm sure. I don't even think there's one as bad as that coming up
No, no.
up in
King of the Ring,
2002.
King of the Ring '95 is widely regarded as one of the worst pay-per-views of all time. Like, I'm not even talking about King of the Ring. I'm talking about in all of pay-per-views. It's widely regarded as one of the worst.
I don't know, man. I can debate this past Hell in a Cell with you.
Yeah, but you can't count the current product because
Oh,
it's all
okay.
trash. I'm talking about in the gold,
It's not all trash. Come on.
right? I'm talking about the golden era. Like,
Yeah.
it's widely regarded as one of the worst. Great pay-per-view. Yeah,
WrestleMania 11's in on the they're actually neck and neck there.
yeah, that was another stinker. But
Yes.
all right, so that pretty much covers King of the Ring '96. You guys let us know what your favorite moments from King of the Ring '96. Whether it's Austin, anything, Pillman, whatever. And we're gonna keep on with the King of the Ring series. We'll be covering '97 next. So your boy gets his redemption.
I didn't like 97s as much.
Yeah,
Not at least not the tournament
yeah,
anyway.
I know,
When
I
I get
know.
into the tournament, I'll talk about it. I
Yeah,
just the pay-per-view the
it's a
card itself with Shawn and Austin. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
We'll cover that how
right,
that
right.
match was supposed to be won
Mm-hmm.
and then turned into something completely
Right,
different.
right, yeah. All right, so make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.
Take care, guys.